Well, hello there. Look what the cat dragged in. We have a very special tale for our adoring fans tonight. Come on, have a listen. One of cunning and mischief. It begins when we were just a young princess. You see, we had to shadow our father day in and day out to learn from his actions at court. Now, we know what you're thinking. We had to do this even though we weren't the ones to inherit the throne. This was our role.
You're joking.
Even though it was our brother who's set to inherit the throne.
Really?
Fate is funny sometimes, Such is the woe of the younger sibling. But it is what it is. Anyways, one day we were out and about in the town square, as we normally are. You know, we're always on top of things. Checking on the normal folk, the peasantry, making sure everyone is in line. And we may have been teasing the fisherman's son for his stinky fish. Come on, you can't just go stinking up the town square like that. How very rude. We were just putting him back in his place when the captain of the guard came around. He always looks so strict. It's hard to tell what's on his mind. The captain of the guard always looks like his yarn is in a knot. We can never tell what he's thinking. So at first, we thought we were in trouble. But no, not us. Our father sent the captain of the guard to collect us. You see, our noble father wanted to take us on a very special trip. Well, when we heard that, we couldn't help but wonder, why wasn't father taking our brother if it was such an important trip? If the trip is that important, don't you think that he would bring the one who's in line for the throne? We guess not. Father has excellent taste, and he chose to bring us along on this diplomatic trip. Of course, we agreed immediately, and we were up all night making plans. What would we wear? How would we style our mane? We looked so good the next day. Maybe a little bit tired, since we didn't get too much sleep, but details, not important. Anyway, the next morning, Father and I set off bright and early, just the two of us on the road. Some quality father-daughter bonding time. It was great, and none of my obnoxious brother's comments the whole trip.
You're joking.
What a delight.
Really?
What a joy. All of my tiredness vanished in the light of the sun walking along, just us and our father. As we were walking, Father began to tell us a bit about the diplomatic differences between us, the great Ligers of our noble pride, and the other, somewhat lesser races of Azure. He said it was important to learn about. We don't know. What was important was that it was a lovely day. The sun was shining, birds were chirping, and we felt good. And you bet, we looked just as good. Anyways, Father was saying something about how the 8 men were attacking our northern farmlands. Supposedly, they thought that we were poisoning fish in the nearby spring.
Are you serious?
Can you believe that? Ridiculous. We would never do that. We love fish. Anyways, these 8 men had it all wrong, but despite the fact that they were completely out of line, they were harassing Ligers who were traveling to and from their woods. Well, of course Father had to get to the bottom of this. Something was stirring them up, and it wasn't us. With our pride on the line, we had no choice. We had to take care of it, and our father was set on figuring it out. Eventually, we arrived in the northern fields, and our father started going around and talking both to fellow Ligers and also to some of the 8 men. They're stinky, did you know? Anyways, we got bored listening to them drone on and on. Really droll and dry conversation. Not to our liking. We had better things to do. So we decided to go for a walk. As we were walking through the woods, we came across a meadow, and there, in the middle of the field, was this massive hoard of treasure, filled with fruits and nuts, candies, desserts, all the good things you can imagine piled up in the center. We have to admit, it was calling our name. But just as we took a step towards it, a unipeg came bursting out of the forest. We had a little bit of a heart attack. We have to admit, it was a bit of a surprise. Anyways, she was very majestic, but, quite angry. She thought we were there to steal her treasure. All those lovely fruits and goodies. They did look tasty, but of course we knew better than to try and steal from a Unipeg. Duh! We talked to the Unipeg, calmed her down with our diplomatic skills. After we took control of the situation and were no longer at risk of being skewered by the Unipeg's horn, we asked her if she knew about the ape men, what on earth they were up to, and why they were acting so weird. She smiled at us with this cocky grin, and she told us that she had been bored and that she lied to the ape men just to stir up trouble. Well, that's quite a problem. It's all fun and games when we're the ones causing trouble, but when it's somebody else... Well, girl to girl, I can relate to that. Life can be pretty dull sometimes, and it's, nice to have a little chaos here and there. But anyways, I was on a mission. It was my diplomatic duty to get to the bottom of this and get the ape men to get back to their own business and leave the Ligers alone. So I asked the Unipeg what we needed to do in order to get her to leave the ape men alone, to settle down the rumors and let things go back to that boring humdrum they were before. The Unipeg thought for a moment, and she looked at her great big pile of treasure, and eventually she told me that a golden apple would be enough. Well, we were just about to reply when all of a sudden something else burst out of the woods. What? Oh, no. That was our second heart attack of the day. A girl can only take so much. And there, in front of us, stood the Unipeg, and now a phoenix too. Can you believe it? Anyways, this big fluffy phoenix all full of herself tells us that, oh, well now we have to get one for her too, a golden apple. Seriously? Oh man, one golden apple is tough to find. Two? Well, that's impossible. Nobody's found two at once before. But hey, part of the duty of a princess is making the impossible possible. So we made a plan. We came up with a genius way to trick them both. We dug through the woods, we looked high and we looked low, and eventually we found that golden apple. Of course, just as expected, there was only one. So you know what we did? We got a normal apple too. We cut them both in half and then used tree sap to glue them together. Of course, it's not good if it's only half gold, so we had to find some gold paint and get them to both look shiny. So we went and we painted both of them gold. Golden apples in hand, we snuck back to the clearing and handed them over to the Unipeg and Phoenix. A little sleight of the paw made sure that they both bit into the golden sides. We waited for a few minutes as they chewed and chewed thoughtfully, just in case they didn't believe us. But as they chewed their apple, a look of shock dawned on their faces. Indeed, they thought, the Liger Princess has truly made the impossible possible. She's done what no one else could, and she found two golden apples at once. Amazing. Incredible. They were shocked. A deal is a deal, and you bet they both agreed to honor it. Well, we skipped back to our father and told him what happened. And I'll never forget the look on his face. He just laughed when we told him. And he said, "We knew we brought you for a reason," as if he had planned it all along. Well, we wonder to this day what happened when the two beasts found out that we tricked him. That mischievous Unipeg and greedy Phoenix. They deserved it. They had it coming. Of course. We don't have any doubts. Don't look at us like that. But we can't help but wonder. There was never any word of their return in the northern farmlands. Neither of them bothered the ape men nor the local Ligers ever again. We can't help but feel that maybe someday they'll be back. Stir up a little more trouble. One day, maybe. But if they do, we'll be waiting.